Argentina is in the World Cup final, and what happened tonight in Atlanta won't be told anywhere else the way I am going to tell you, because this isn't just a soccer game. It is 40 years of history exploding in 92 minutes. Messi at 39, Jude Bellingham hunting him down from minute 1, an impossible comeback, a banner that ignited two whole nations, and a 19-year-old photo nobody remembered that changes absolutely everything this Sunday. If you think you know what happened, you have no idea. The final score didn't even matter. It was everything surrounding it. I am telling you the whole story, play by play, minute by minute, leaving nothing out. But first, let me make you a promise. If you stay until the end, I won't play any tricks, just the most unbelievable story soccer has written in 4 decades. Let me know in the comments whose side you are on, Messi or Lamine. Hit that like button. It is free and hurts a lot less than losing a semifinal in the 80th minute. Now, let's go, because to understand how it ended, you first have to understand what happened during the match. And what happened during the game deserves a deep look, player by player, with the honest truth each one earned tonight. Let's start at the back. Dibu Martinez faced few shots and little pressure, but he dominated the air, commanding every cross. The keeper who shows up when Argentina needs him most. He didn't make crazy saves, but he showed exactly what a keeper must in a semifinal. Nobody gets past him. Nahuel Molina was the weak link tonight, and I won't sugarcoat it. The English goal came right down his side. Gordon got in behind him in a move everyone saw coming, and that mistake made it 1-0. For the final, Scaloni has to decide whether to trust him or find another option on that wing, because tonight was rough and everyone saw it. Christian Romero, on the other hand, was pure ice. In the second half, 2 English players charged at him at full speed, furious, looking for a collision. But Romero bypassed both and walked away with the ball like he was strolling through a park. Unshakable, he is the best center back at this tournament, and every play proved it. Lautaro Martínez was great until that yellow card forced him to sub out in the 72nd minute. And that yellow card shifted the game more than you think, because Lautaro was the one keeping Bellingham quiet. Whenever the Englishman tried to rev his engine early on, Lautaro was right there to shut him down. Without him on the pitch, Bellingham found room to breathe. Keep that in mind, because it becomes crucial. Tagliafico was subbed off in the 80th minute, right as the comeback started, but his 80 minutes were absolutely vital. Whipping perfect crosses from the left, constantly attacking, totally precise, one of the best fullback performances of the entire tournament. Giuliano Simeone is a tough one to judge. It was highly unusual for him to start this match. He had very few minutes in his legs recently, and it showed. He tried too hard on every play. He entered the pitch way too frantic for a match of this scale, and occasionally looked completely overwhelmed. He probably won't start the final, which is likely for the best. Meanwhile, Leandro Paredes was rock solid, anchoring the back 3. He was less dominant than against Egypt, but always in the right position, always providing the clean exit the team needed to survive. And now, get ready, because we are getting to the architects of the comeback. Before the equalizer, Alexis Mac Allister took 2 or 3 shots from distance, but none went in, but each attempt got closer. He was tireless in both phases, the team hinge, driving the transition from defense to attack that sparked the comeback. A masterclass from a player who hasn't dropped his level for a single second, which brings us to Enzo Fernández, who scored the first goal of the comeback. He took 3 shots from outside during the second half. The first went wide, the second went closer, and the third was a gift from Messi. Because when Messi delivers a ball like that to Enzo Fernández, you simply cannot miss. And he didn't. A brilliant strike inside the far post that Pickford couldn't even touch. The biggest goal of his career, and you could see it on his face. Julian Alvarez is the most relentless running machine in this tournament. He was on the left, the right, out wide, playing as a second striker, covering ground that no other forward on earth could cover with that energy in the 70th minute of a semifinal. Scaloni didn't sub him off, and he couldn't because benching Julian right then would have killed the engine driving their comeback. The logical move was swapping him for Lautaro, but Julian just wouldn't tire. He simply did not tire. Scaloni recognized that and made the right call. And now, of course, we get to him, Messi. When the pressure is at its peak, he delivers. A quiet first half, pacing himself, waiting for the chaos to settle, knowing his moment would arrive. Then it came. 80 minutes in, Argentina down 1-0, and Messi did something those of us following him for 20 years recognized instantly. He drifted to the right wing, the exact spot from his prime Barcelona days, the same position Scaloni asked him to play against Egypt when they were down 2-0 and the tournament was slipping away. From there, he started whipping in crosses. The first cross sparked the play for Enzo's goal. The second was a right-footed cross that Lautaro headed in for the final 2-1. 2 assists in 10 minutes, right when Argentina needed them most. At 39 years old, he has 12 goal involvements this World Cup, 8 goals and 4 assists. One of the highest tallies in a single tournament in World Cup history, and the absolute record with 12 assists, 10 of those in knockout stages. That is what Messi did on this historic night. And we haven't even reached the biggest moment yet because that happened after the final whistle. We will get to that in a second. But first, you need to look at the substitutes, because this comeback was won by the entire squad. Nico Gonzalez came on and became a dagger down the left wing. The depth he provided in those final 20 minutes was exactly what opened up space for Messi's crosses to find their targets. Otamendi, Montiel, and De Poel delivered like they always do when Scaloni calls on them. And Lautaro Martínez, coming on in the 80th minute with the game tied and everything on the line, he got his one chance and buried it. That towering header from Messi's cross sent Argentina straight to the World Cup final. What he did next defines this team better than any stat. He ran to the corner crying, completely overwhelmed by emotion. In his post-match interview, he admitted through tears that ever since his dad bought him his first pair of cleats, he dreamed of scoring that exact goal. That is Argentina, a team that weeps in victory because they know exactly what this means. To be fair, we have to look at the other side. England deserved much more than what the scoreboard shows, and anyone saying otherwise did not watch the game. Pickford was hands down England's best player. He made 2 spectacular first-half saves against McAllister that would have beaten any other goalkeeper. Another massive stop on Julian Alvarez kept England alive during the first half's most intense moment. If Pickford isn't in goal, this is a completely different game. Harry Kane, on the other hand, was totally invisible. The man with nearly 80 goals this season, a top Ballon d'Or candidate, and Europe's most consistent number 9 in years, had to drop all the way back to his own center backs just to touch the ball. When your star striker has to hunt for possession in his own defensive half, you have a massive tactical problem. Tuchel didn't solve it, and we will get back to Tuchel, because he shoulders a lot of the blame here. Then there is Bellingham. He deserves his own segment. Lissandro and Romero shut him down whenever he tried to kick into high gear, but he still carried that constant threat, the energy of a guy who can change a match in a split second. And there was more, a 92-minute feud with Messi that ended in the most explosive way possible, but we will get to that in a minute. Trust me, you do not want to miss it. Anthony Gordon was hands down England's best outfield player. He scored the goal, created constant danger, and showed real fight when things got ugly. And here is a classic football irony. The Barcelona winger was easily England's best player on the pitch tonight. Ray and Anderson went completely missing in action. A midfield that should have dominated on paper, but instead allowed McAllister and Enzo to dictate the game completely in the second half. But there was one positive surprise: real fight, tons of intensity. A player nobody expected who showed more grit off the English bench than many undisputed starters. And then came Tuchel, making the most baffling decision of the entire tournament. Argentina was pouring forward after the 60th minute. McAllister was testing them from distance. Enzo was shooting from deep, Nico Gonzalez was overloading the left, and Tuchel stood there doing nothing. He brought on defenders when the match practically begged for attackers. He parked the bus right when he should have pushed up. He gifted Argentina 30 full minutes without making any adjustment to stop the onslaught. Tonight's defeat is entirely on him. Not on Pickford, who was outstanding. Not on Kane, who never got a single decent ball. Not on Gordon, who got the goal. This is on Tuchel, who decided at 1-0 that the game was won, handing Argentina the exact amount of time they needed to turn it around. And now, here is what nobody else is telling you, what really went down between Bellingham and Messi during the match, and what happened right as the final whistle blew. Bellingham targeted Messi from the opening whistle not to play but to provoke and intimidate him, trying to rattle the greatest player on earth with the only weapon he had left against a player of that caliber. Pure pressure. They clashed in the opening minutes. Bellingham went straight for him, getting right in his face, chest to chest. Messi looked at him with the cool calm of someone who has spent 20 years handling exactly these situations, making a gesture his teammates read instantly. Get ready. It was not a threat, it was a promise. And stick around, because that promise was delivered in the most satisfying way you will ever see. When England scored the opener, Bellingham went looking for him again. The same energy, the same provocation, the same belief that targeting Messi when Argentina's losing actually gets under his skin. It does not, and it never has. And in the 92nd minute, with Argentina leading 2-1 and the game wrapped up, Bellingham fouled Messi. One gesture that defined his entire night. Pure frustration. That is the frustration of someone who came in convinced he could intimidate the greatest, only to watch that legend deliver 2 assists, sending Argentina to the final without saying a single word. Without a look. Without even a gesture. Bellingham got the card, Messi got the final, and what happened right after the whistle turned this into the most talked about moment of the tournament. Because the moment the referee blew the final whistle, sparks flew. Both teams clashed on the pitch as 92 minutes of built-up tension exploded into a massive scuffle. Shoving, screaming, fingers pointing. Players from both sides jumped into the madness, and coaching staffs rushed the pitch to separate everyone for several minutes, while the Atlanta Stadium struggled to process what it was witnessing. The kind of fight that only breaks out when there is deep history, and here we have 40 years of it. Because while that chaos unfolded on the pitch, in the stands, the benched Argentine players unfurled a banner reading, "The Malvinas are Argentine," and right then, the game stopped being just a game. 40 years of a wound that time has not healed. In 1982, these two nations fought a war that left scars that remain wide open. In 1986, Diego Armando Maradona scored twice against England in a World Cup quarterfinal. One with his hand, the other with his right foot, making a 60-meter run that the entire world remembers as the greatest goal in history. Maradona scored twice, and tonight, 40 years later, Messi delivered 2 assists, one with his left, then his right, the other with his left, then his right, both against England, both in a World Cup knockout match, both with the entire nation watching. Soccer has this beautiful way of repeating its stories, and tonight it did so in the most poetic way possible. And the best part is yet to come, because something closes this loop in a way you won't believe. The photo. There is a photo from 19 years ago. Lionel Messi, then a young Barcelona player, posing with a 5-month-old baby after a UNICEF charity raffle won by the boy's family. That baby is Lamine Yamal. The same Lamine Yamal who was in a New Jersey hotel tonight preparing for Sunday's final. The same Lamine Yamal who wears the number 19 for Barcelona. The exact same number Messi wore the day that photo was taken. And this Sunday, Lamine Yamal will step onto the field opposite the very man who held him as a 5-month-old baby. This cannot be a coincidence. If it is the most perfect one soccer has produced in decades. And this Sunday, In that final, two stories will reach their climax at the exact same time. First, Messi, who could win the World Cup, the Golden Boot, and the Ballon d'Or at 39 years old, ending his career in a way no scriptwriter would dare write. And Lamine, who could win a World Cup at just 18, completely shattering the Ballon d'Or debate before it even truly begins. Scaloni summed it up best afterwards: "I am speechless." What these players are showing is unbelievable. And he is right, 3 finals out of 4 possible World Cups with Messi. If he wins Sunday, he matches Pelé in Finals 1. If they win Sunday, Argentina secures back-to-back World Cups, just like Brazil in 58 and 62 and Italy in 34 and 38. And if he wins on Sunday, Messi completes his journey with Argentina in front of the baby from the photo, the heir, the kid trying to stop that legacy from being finished. Now, let me put this into perspective, because there is one stat that changes absolutely everything. Tonight's comeback was not their first of this tournament, it was their third. Argentina came back against Egypt from 0-2 to win 3-2. They fought back against Switzerland from 1-1 to win 3-1 after a controversial red card, and tonight they overturned a 1-0 deficit to beat England 2-1. 3 times on the brink of disaster, 3 times fighting back at the very last second, and always with the same man. Messi, who at 39 years old, is still the player the entire world looks to when things seem impossible. That is not luck. And it is not just random chance playing in Argentina's favor. That is simply how the greatest player of all time understands his role within the team. Messi doesn't need 90 minutes of magic to win anymore. He just has to show up at the exact second the match is decided. In this tournament, he has done it 3 times in a row, a level of consistency no 39-year-old has ever shown in football history. Let us look at Bellingham. It says everything about this tournament. What we saw out there with Bellingham wasn't just a player having a bad day, it was the exact result of a deeply flawed plan. Bellingham came in convinced he could rattle Messi, thinking a little trash talk breaks the absolute best. Instead, he watched helplessly as Messi, without saying one word during the last 30 minutes, without even looking at him, never giving him the satisfaction of a single glance, delivering 2 assists to send Argentina to the final 92 minutes of chasing a reaction that never came. That is the difference between believing you are the greatest and proving it when the game is on fire. Bellingham is an incredible player with undeniable talent. But tonight, he learned a lesson many before him had to learn the hard way. You do not intimidate Messi. You suffer him. Meanwhile, the Argentinian fans were singing all the way to the stadium. If you don't jump, you're English. They sang it before, they sang it after, and their Malvinas banner proved it on the pitch. This win wasn't just a ticket to the final. It was something much deeper for an entire nation. It was proof that when Argentina unites, when Messi carries the whole squad on his back, when Lautaro accepts his bench role and comes on to score the biggest goal of his life, when Nico Gonzalez tears down the left wing, while Mac Allister and Enzo keep fighting, pushing until the ball finally goes in, Argentina can overcome anything. Even England, even history. Bellingham's trash talk, Tuchel parking the bus, a 1-0 scoreline, and 30 agonizing minutes left on the clock. And on Sunday, they will try to prove it again against Spain, against Lamine, against Unai Simon and his clean sheet record, against Cubarsí and Laporte, against Rodri and Fabian, matching up with the absolute best team in the tournament, the one that shut down the most feared attack in the world. That is Sunday's massive final, the biggest clash soccer has seen in decades. And there is one huge difference that explains it all. Because Spain and Argentina reached this final from totally opposite directions. Spain cruised in without suffering, dominating every single match with a system so rock solid it is downright terrifying. Argentina got here by bleeding in every round, losing to Egypt, trailing against England tonight, surviving the Swiss controversy, and always coming back with Messi leading the charge. Spain plays a game that leaves you zero options. Argentina plays a style that always finds a way when absolutely none exists. So, which is better? We will find out on Sunday. But no stat can measure the raw energy of an entire nation backing a team when that team represents something far greater than just soccer. Tonight, when that Malvinas banner came out, when Lautaro wept remembering the boots his father bought him as a kid, with a 39-year-old Messi drifting out right and whipping in crosses like he was 20 again, the beautiful game proved something no tactical analysis could ever put into words. Some teams win with a system, but others win with pure soul. Spain wins with their system, Argentina wins with their soul. On Sunday, they clash before the entire world to see which force will prevail, whether the finest team on earth lifts the trophy, or if the most dramatic squad in modern soccer finds a way to come back once again. That is the ultimate question. The answer arrives in 90 minutes, with Messi on one side, with Lamine on the other, and that famous photo of them together 19 years ago hanging over absolutely everything that happens out there. And there is one final thing that needs to be said before Sunday, because it puts everything into perspective. Messi is 39 years old. Let that sink in. 39. Keep that in mind when you talk about his 12-goal contributions in this tournament, his 2 assists tonight, his historic World Cup assist record, and how he always steps up right when Argentina needs him most. No player in history has ever performed like this at 39. Not Pelé, not Maradona, not Ronaldo Nazario, not Zidane, absolutely nobody. And Messi is doing it in the toughest tournament on earth, facing the most brutal defenders and highly organized systems in the world, all while carrying the immense pressure of captaining a team forced to fight back in every single knockout round. It is completely unprecedented. On Sunday, he can finish the story in the most poetic way imaginable, a World Cup final against Spain, Lamine, and the kid from the photo. If Argentina wins, Messi equals Pelé, takes home the Golden Boot, and seals the most undeniable case any player has ever made for a Ballon d'Or at 39. If he loses, he finished his final World Cup run, leaving everything on the field. Either way, what he is doing is already historic. He doesn't need anything else to be the greatest of all time. But soccer has handed him one last chance to write his final greatest chapter. And this Sunday, we will find out if that chapter ends the way Argentina dreams, or if Spain, who has spent the whole tournament proving that the best team can overcome anything, writes its own story. The story of a generation that started at Euro 2024 and ends at the 2026 World Cup with Lamine and Kubarsi, 2 18-year-old kids in the world final. And let me close with the stat that sums up the night better than any analysis. 10 Barcelona players in the World Cup final and 0 from Real Madrid. Messi plays for Inter Miami now, but he built his entire legacy at Barcelona. And on the other side, Real Madrid's Bellingham sparking the biggest fight of the night on the pitch in Atlanta. Soccer has that kind of humor, sometimes poetic, sometimes ironic. And tonight, it was both at the same time. Poetic with Messi and the photo of Lamine, with Lautaro wearing his father's boots, with Maradona and the Malvinas with Argentina beating England 40 years later. And ironic with Tuchel locking things down at the back, with Kane chasing balls that never arrived, with Bellingham searching all night for a spark he never found. Soccer said it all tonight, and on Sunday, it will say it again in front of the largest audience a match has ever seen, with the entire world watching, with Messi on one side, Lamine on the other, and that 19-year-old photo as the backdrop to everything that is about to unfold. Destiny wrote it nearly 2 decades ago in a picture everyone forgot, and this Sunday on the pitch, it will finally be confirmed.